Okay, hi Zakeen. I actually got your zip file. Thank you for doing that. I wanted to provide a video because I think that is probably the easiest way to give you this feedback. And then make the necessary changes based on my feedback, and then go forward with your part 2 if you haven't already. The first thing I noticed is that your layout size is not correct. So let's go ahead and adjust that. So that's the most important. So we want to go File, Document Setup. And we want to make sure that we're in inches. Right now we're not in inches. So cancel that out. We're going to go up to Preferences up in Design, Units and Increments. And we want to change your ruler units to inches. So vertical and horizontal. Click OK. Then go up to File, Document Setup. This is where you're going to change it to 8.5 by 11. And then you want your margins to be at least a half. So go ahead and do 0.5 for all of your margins. Click OK. Now, when I do this, it's going to really significantly affect your artboard because you originally had it landscaped more wide than tall. So this is actually the correct size. So go in there and change the size. And then what you're going to have to do is rearrange everything. And let's see your pages. You go to Document Setup again. We have facing pages, but we want to start page 1. So what you need to do is go back up to File, Document Setup. We want to change the start at page number 1 so that we have a cover page. So the cover page would be here, second page, third page, fourth page. With that being said, you're going to have a lot to kind of move around here. So what we want to do is we want to pull this aside. And we want to pull everything on this page. So go ahead and move everything from when you do change that page size. And it doesn't look like you linked your your copy boxes correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start from scratch because this might be easier for you. And pull this down. All right. So if you watch the lecture demo, I showed you how to link your copy boxes correctly. I showed you how to do your page numbers. So you might want to go back and listen to that. So I'm not totally repeating myself, but let's go to okay, I'm just opening up that file, the copy file. All right, so we're going to take the type tool and we're going to go ahead and make your text box. We're going to paste in that copy again. So you definitely do the same thing. Do another copy box over here. Before you do anything with this copy box, just let it be, click off of it. Click back on with your selection tool. And you're going to link this box with this box. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to start on this page. Oop, there we go. I'm getting confused because I did the demo for our menu the other way. Okay, so you're going to make a text box on your first page of your newsletter. And then you're going to click this little white box down here. You're going to click one time and you're going to click into the second copy box that you made. That'll link it together. Pull this in. You could probably keep this up here if you want. Depends on how you want to link that together. All right, so So now if I move this box, say upwards, watch what happens to this box. It flows into this, and that's what we want. We want your first page and your second page to be linked, the copy boxes. Okay. So anytime we want to bring this down or reflow it, it's gonna flow down here. Okay. So now we need a masthead. So as I stated in your demo, think of a title and think of a way to connect this is a newsletter for a designer, for designers. So think of, you could even just say designer's newsletter. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then what I would do is post either place a picture, or you can even do a block of type or a block of color, something to act like, the top header of this newsletter. So it should equal out. It shouldn't be all just, it shouldn't all just be copy on the front. So let's say you want to place this picture as your top, top of your newsletter. And then go ahead and take a text box separately, and we're going to name this just designer's newsletter. We're going to bring up your characters panel. I think I had that. Oh, there it is. And I'm going to give it a nice, like a thicker font that's bold. So Din is one of the fonts I chose for this. Let's bring up your paragraph tool box here. Let's see, where's my type? Okay. So bring up your character and your paragraph panel, and we're going to set this to center, and then pick a color. You can even pick it from a color within this image here. So maybe like this teal color. All right, now we're going to set our paragraph and character styles because you don't have anything set yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a new paragraph style. So go to your paragraph styles. If you don't have that up, go to window, go to styles, paragraph and character. Paragraph is, actually, no, let me delete that. Actually, you can do that. Let's do that. New paragraph style. Let's name this headline. And we're going to make a paragraph style for your headline. Actually, no, not. We'll just do masthead. Masthead would be like the newsletter name. Okay, that looks good. And then what we're going to do is set your body copy. So do a select all, Command A. And we're going to go to paragraph style again, create a new one, double click on top of it. We're going to name this body copy. And over here where it says basic character formats, we're going to choose a very easy to read typeface, serif, not sans serif, it's serif. So let's choose Times regular, and let's go with 10 point by 14 point lettering. 10 points is the size of the actual font. 14 is the line spacing. That's a good 20% ratio, so that it's a nice, easy to read copy. Now, before you do anything else, what we're going to do is go to indents and spacing, and we're going to put the first line indent. We're going to increase this to 0.125, first line indent. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you, knowing where the first and the second paragraph are. Now we're going to set your subhead. So just highlight your subhead. Go ahead, choose basic paragraph after you do that. Choose new paragraph style. We're going to name this subhead. You can do whatever font you want. You can use the font that you were using. I don't know which one it was, so I deleted it. But let's do whichever one you want. I'm going to do Din bold. You can make it larger. And you can make it a color. So if you hit color, you can choose a color in here. Let's see. I'm gonna do a pink. It's in that post-it. Nope. Okay. So now all you have to do is highlight all of your subheads with your type tool and then choose subhead in your styles. So anytime you need to change that, and I'll show you here in a second. Say you didn't like that pink and you changed all these to this paragraph style. Now, say if you don't like that color, just go ahead and double click on your subhead, paragraph style, go back to color. Now let's say we'll do like a blue. Choose the blue and it'll change every single color in there for your subhead. So that's kind of like you have to go a little bit, you have to put a little time into it, but once you do, you can go back and easily change whatever. You can even change the type, the font. So that's how you keep everything consistent. So you need you need your masthead, body copy, and subhead to be in there as a paragraph style. The next thing you want to do is divide this into at least 2 columns. But before we do that, we need a contents page. So let's pull this over. This is kind of what I went over in the second part of this lecture. The contents, table contents is what you need. So go ahead and reserve a space for that. And I'm going to do, let's see. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, but go ahead and listen to my lecture. I showed how to put your table contents in there correctly. And then it's up to you. I would probably keep this, if you make it this big, keep this to like 1 column because that actually fits in there nicely. I would just pull this to the bottom, so the baseline meets that. Pull this down just a little bit. And then maybe add like a line of some sort to divide this. And this line can be, you know, that same color, that same teal color if you want. Go ahead and make the stroke that teal color. And you can kind of see it coming together here. I would probably make this a little thinner, the stroke. Probably like 0.5. And then I probably pull it down a little bit. Okay, so I'm like centering all of my stuff. So this is getting to where it needs to be. You have a nice top area here. Go to, hi guys. And over print preview. There we go. So now you have your subheads nicely set. They're consistent. You have spaces in between here. Your body copy is set perfectly. Our page size is right. We have our table contents. We just have to put the type in there. And now we're going to go to this box. I'm going to make this color cohesive with this color. Let's bring up your swatches here. Oh, it's already in there. Okay. Instead of that green, we'll take it from the picture. Okay, so then let's break this up into 2 columns. So select just this type box with your selection tool. Go to Object, Text Frame Objects, and then choose either 2 or 3 columns, completely up to you. If you do 3 columns, this is what it'll look like. And then pull your copy box, you know, around just to see how it flows. Okay, and then you can bring in your pictures. And it's up to you where you place this, but keep in mind the grid. So maybe, for instance, this comes to here. And then maybe you put another picture here. Let's show the guide so we can see what we're doing. Maybe we'll put the more vertical one here. I'll bump these up a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Let's bring this forward. Perfect. And just have enough space in between these so that they're, it's not too close to the type. Object fitting fill proportionate will allow it to fill that area. Okay, and then what we can do is just take a look at this and see what else we can do. If you want to put another image in here, you can, completely up to you. Maybe that image comes down here. And that's what we're adding in there. Make sure it's, you don't have any weird breaks. I have a weird break here, so let me fix that. I obviously have to put a text wrap on this. I'm going to make these slightly smaller. That's just kind of like massaging this to make it work for the space. And you're aligning everything to a grid, so, hopefully it works. You could repeat this nice line element. That might be something nice. Copy that. Put it up here in between the image and the type. We're going to put a text wrap on this. And a text wrap, just make sure that the text doesn't bump behind here. So with that image selected, we're going to go up to where is it? Under window, text wrap. Choose that second button. And then anything that bumps around this will get, the type will get bumped. Okay. So if you move this around, sorry, my phone's ringing. Like say if you wanted to put it in the middle, the type will wrap around it. So just kind of figure out a space for this where it, makes it break a little easier. That top, there's a widow up there. So let's fix that. Let's just pull this up just a little bit. Yeah, that kind of fixes it right there. And then we can bring this down a little bit. If it has a text wrap, you could kind of play around with that positioning and the size. Pull it down just a little bit. Need to go up with it. Okay, I don't think I'm going to get this to where it needs to be yet. It's a little tricky. Okay. There we go. Okay. That kind of helps. So I'm just trying to even out these spaces here. And I have a bad breakup there. See that decisions? That shouldn't be up there. So let's pull this back up. Oh, that's a bad break too. We don't want that. This is going to be the tricky part, is just kind of bumping everything the way that needs to be bumped and keeping everything on a baseline. Now, what we want to do is in our body copy, go ahead and double click on that. And what we want to do is we want to choose, let's see, where is it here? Baseline shift, align to a grid. We want to do all lines aligned to a grid. Now, if it's spaced out like that, see how spaced out that is? That's too much spaced out. So go up to your InDesign preferences and you want to go to units and increments. I'm sorry, not unit. We want to go to grids, sorry. So click on grids and we want to take this down about, let's try 10 points. I'm going to take it down to 9 points. This is just adjusting it, the baseline grid. There we go. So adjust that to 9 points and you should be good with your baselines aligning better. You can see all the baselines at the bottom align. Okay, actually this has a space. Let me delete that space out. There we go. Perfect. And then just, you know, centering that. I don't know if there's a space after this. Hold on one second. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to make sure these spaces are all equal. So let's go ahead and delete these spaces because what's in there isn't right. If there's any spaces in here too, go ahead and take those out. All right. And then you want to double click on subhem and go to your, where is it, indent spacing? And we want to do the space before, we want to increase that to 0.25. Let's try that for now. So you'll see that it'll put a consistent spacing after each ending paragraph before the subhead. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to take the spacing down a little bit. There we go. If you don't want to have it affect the sides, because we really are just placing it in here, we can take the sides off by just clicking that little link and you can kind of play around with that. So now the baselines are aligning down here. That's perfect. And we just want the top. There we go. Perfect. So you can see all the baselines are aligning. Everything looks good now. I just had to adjust a couple things. Okay. So that's page 1. And again, I showed last week how to place in your table of contents. So listen to that lecture so you can get that information in. Make these necessary changes. Flowing, you know, after you resize the actual artboards, make sure you have all of your paragraphs styles set up. The only other thing we have to do is page numbers, and make sure you're doing that through your parent pages, which is up here. And I showed how to do that in lecture. So please go ahead and listen to that lecture demo so you can properly place your page numbers.